the co-founder and VP of Bixin, Ted Lin, Head of International Markets at Binance, and Li Huo, Senior Director at Huobi. The moderator is Hamid Benyahia, co-founder of Ether.io.
So welcome everyone to this panel about exchange and token trading. So I first wanted to thank everyone for being here today, our guests as well for coming from so far, and George and Yuan for organizing this amazing and needed event, especially right now. So my name is Hamid. I'm co-founder of Ether. So we're building a protocol that enables people to buy and sell crypto with cash and spend it at physical stores. And I can tell you that 2017 was a crazy year in the crypto space, because exactly 1 year ago, the value of cryptocurrency was around 14 billion US dollars, whereas today it's around 400 billion US dollars. So crypto and token trading is actually rising all over the world. And one of the first gate or bridge to have access to cryptocurrency that has been developed are the online crypto exchanges. So today we have the chance to have 3 guests who actually founded or worked for in the most popular exchanges in the world, especially in Asia. So I'll actually let you guys introduce yourself and your company.
Okay. Cool. So my name is Lee. I work in Huobi, Huobi.pro. So Huobi, it's a exchange, obviously. We founded in 2013. Ever since we were one of the biggest exchange in China. Over the past 4 years, we've been successfully provided stable and consistent trading services to our customers in Asia. Now that the regulatory landscape changes a little bit in China, and then we launched this new crypto-based exchange called Huobi.pro. It's operating out of Singapore. It's been quite an amazing journey over the past 40 days, I would say. We have listed over 30 assets so far, and we will, continue to provide more, amazing services to the customers in Asia. And now that our landscape's expanded to other markets too, not only in Asia, including Europe, Southeast Asia, and also here in America. So for more information, you can check our website. It's Huobi.pro. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Ted. I'm the head of international markets at Binance. How many of you heard of Binance? And how many of you have an account with Binance? Okay. As a matter of fact, 30% of our users and visitors come from the Americas. And San Francisco happened to be one of the top cities where we get the IP visitors. So Binance has been in action for 5 months. It was born out of an ICO project 5 months ago, and we've grown fast due to your support. For the past 159 days, I actually know the numbers because I was doing one in Moscow a couple of days ago. For the past 159 days, we've grown to over $1 billion of daily trading volume. And we've become one of the world's top 3, actually today's top 5, but we're kind of floating between top 3 and top 5 in terms of all cryptocurrency exchanges. User base exceeding 1 million as we speak. And one of the best things about Binance, aside from the fact that the Binance coin actually catapulted over 25 times since ICO, is that we continue to find very, very solid projects that you can feel great about giving your crypto investing luck a try. And also we're very engaged with the community, so we're always bringing the latest bounty programs if you go to the website to have fun while you trade. So Binance is one of the best places to trade, well, for me personally, the best place to trade crypto. And I would say if you haven't, there's the referral program. You can refer your friend or family and get kickback on your commission fee. Before I get lost, I would talk more about why Binance is a place to be during the panel. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I am co-founder of Bixin. We are actually the most popular Bitcoin and Ethereum wallet in China, and we have now like tens of thousands of users so far. And at the other side, we've been running the mining farm for like over 3 years, and now we hold 6% of the whole hash rate of the world. And early this year, we have launched our exchange, which is named the KKX. And yeah, we are building everything of the Bitcoin Ethereum's ecosystem. And we can talk about this later in the panel, I think. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So let's talk about what's going on right now. Bitcoin is literally like exploding. Ethereum's cryptocurrency Ether also has almost doubled recently, like in a week. And the first question I wanted to ask you is like, according to you, what's driving the market so high right now?
Me? Sorry. Yeah, as we can see that there are more and more new users from the traditional market. I mean, people are really enthusiastic about the cryptocurrency, and they're just buying and buying, especially in the Asia countries. So we can see Japan, Korea, and although China has banned ICOs, but and also people in China cannot deposit or withdraw fiat currency to the exchanges, but for most of the Chinese exchanges, they have overseas versions, and people can still trade Bitcoin to altcoins. So I think there are many reasons to drive the prices, but for the fundamental perspective, I think it's demand and supply. Yeah.
Yes, and maybe I can add to that a little bit. I think there are three main reasons why there's so many hype in the market. I think first of all is, as I mentioned, that we listed around, over the past 40 days, we listed around 30 new assets per se in our platform. There are more and more applications. I would say interesting applications, especially like the CryptoKitty, emerging in this market, and I can foresee that in the near future, there are just more and more this kind of applications in the market to attract more new users coming into the market. And I see second main reason is I think it's because the price of the Bitcoin and price of the Ethereum, these big cap tokens, the price goes up consistently. There are lots of people starting to hear about Bitcoin, starting to hear about cryptocurrency, and they look at the price of the cryptocurrency. They see this perhaps is something that they should invest, and the return it's good. I mean, because the price keeps going up. And number three, I think the reason is there are more and more mainstream players. They are trying to get into the space, including the upcoming launch of the Bitcoin future in CME and also SIBO here in America. And more mainstream players are trying to come into the place such that we will foresee a much bigger market cap in the crypto space. And that's why I see there are a lot more attractions in the crypto market. And more people want to get involved, and that's why we see that the number of user base in our platform, we constantly see a growth rate in terms of user base on our platform. Actually, over the past 40 days of the launch of our platform, we see a growth rate of 2,000%, which is 20x times. So we can see the growth rate is tremendous. Yeah, I hope I answer your questions.
Yes,
Yeah.
And to what extent do you think that the east part of the world, sorry, is actually driving the markets? I mean, I remember China having huge volumes, excuse me, especially before the ban of the ICOs. Now we talk a lot about Korea. Do you think it actually comes from the east part of the world? Do you think the West still has a chance to drive the market so high?
Yep, to answer the questions, I think I constantly were asked this one questions. I mean, what are the impacts of the ban in China, the ICO ban? I would say that if you just look at the trading volume of the exchange in China, It used to take up around 90% of the global trading volume, and then it went down to 20%, and now it went down to 0. But lots of things are still happening at the back of it, I would say, including the blockchain development, including the mining activities, including the OTC trading. There are lots of things still happening. And if you look at the markets, two of the biggest market now, it's, one of them is Korean, the other one is Japan. I think there are tremendous demand coming from Asia for many different reasons. But I think the market in Europe and also in America, they are also as big, you know, as you can see. Yep.
How did you leave, let's say, the ban episode in September 2017? I mean, I was personally present in Shanghai like 1 year ago, September 2016 at DevCon 2, and the regulator was actually invited to this event, and he was talking to the blockchain Ethereum community. Why do you think we went from like a regulator that participates to this kind of event to like a total ban of ICOs in one of the countries where the volumes were like the highest?
Well, for us, we were not really materially impacted. Binance was registered outside of China since the start, and our fan base has always been rather global, if you look at the mix. We did witness the FUD during that regulatory lockdown, and I believe the world was on the lookout as well. That's why Bitcoin, I recall back then, dropped to about what, $3,500. It was almost like somebody's trying to get on board, because after that, it never looked back. I would say we will be witnessing some kind of regulatory, whether it's abrupt lockdown or a more transparent set of regulations being presented in developed countries very soon. I think Japan was one of the forefront of these transparency-driven regulatory countries. And it was also one of the reasons why we actually have office and a team in Tokyo, in Japan right now. We do see regulations as something of a necessary thing, not necessarily a necessary evil, but necessary. But being transparent is actually more important than being gray. If you can operate without knowing exactly where the boundaries are, it's actually not good for anybody, investors or exchanges or any commercial entity in between. So I anticipate more regulations around the world to be made available, but I do hope, for the sake of everybody, the regulations are quite clear.
So let's talk about maybe tokens now. Trading, it was like the subject of the first panel, and more and more people are developing like dApps, decentralized applications all over the world. We say that the world is becoming tokenized. But at the same time, when we look at the top 25 cryptocurrencies on CoinMarketCap, for example, these are not ERC20 tokens, for example, the cryptocurrency. So do you consider the activity of token trading still small nowadays and think it's going to rise? Or do you think maybe it could catch up with the top 3, Bitcoin or Ether? Maybe one coin could do it. If one could do it, which one according to you? Or do you think cryptocurrencies are going to remain like in the highest?
Just a quick poll. How many of you have bought Bitcoin for the past 6 months? Or Ether, right? How many of you bought those because you are trying to buy more tokens or get into certain crypto projects? So I think many of the people trading between, of course, fiat and Bitcoin and back and forth, but where's the fun in that? Many more people actually bought into Ether and Bitcoin because they want to participate in ICO or come to Binance to have fun trading the cryptos we have. So tokens is all the craze. Now tokens, coins, tokens, they're all about a particular project. No matter if they create their own chain, hence we call them altcoins, or they're based on one of the standards, hence we call them tokens. I believe the dynamic that's driving the crypto investment right now is 2 parts. One is the mom and dads buying their first, well, actually mom and dads, if they're really old, maybe I wouldn't recommend buying to Bitcoin this time, but buying their first coin, probably Bitcoin, and the other half, probably more than half, is people who are wanting to invest in crypto assets. Now, for Binance, we actually only have 30% out of that $1 billion daily volume related to Bitcoin and Ether. The other 70% are tokens or altcoin related. So we definitely see the dynamic momentum of people who want to invest in different projects they believe in. Kind of like if you have access to US dollars and then you open a brokerage account somewhere. The fun is not getting the US dollars. The fun is actually making that US dollar go into one of the stock equities, some of the share of the company you like. We see that as the bigger part of the crypto trading going forth.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I think nowadays we see that even the big, the big capped cryptos, or we say coins, is because they come into the world, at first, I would say. We see a lot of problems, people see a lot of problems with Bitcoin and with Ethereum. Either it's a scalability issues, whether it's a stability issues or consensus issue. And people are looking for another solution, and that's why that comes up with many different ways. People are trying to innovate and find another, let's say, other consensus mechanism, or finding another scalability method to build a better, more stable, a healthier blockchain. So I would see when these new projects really becoming widely accepted, I will see there are a lot more demands to those tokens. And in our platform, we do have a model. It's called a smart chain model to measure different blockchain projects. We built this model to help our customers to better understand how good the project is, and to basically evaluate the projects. It's like a rating agency. So if you're interested, then you can obviously go to the website and take a look at it. And there are lots of details. But in short, the message I want to get across is people are getting interested in tokens because because this industry is fast growing. A lot of new technologies are coming in. Lots of new stuff are being built on a daily basis. Yeah.
Anyone, do you want to have insights? Okay, my next question was about decentralized exchanges. So more and more decentralized exchanges are being developed. We talked a lot about 0x. Ether Delta is actually, I think, the most used dApp. Well, it was actually before the crypto kitty phenomenon. But how do you see the venue of these new players? How do you live it? What do you think about it?
Binance right now is a centralized exchange. There will be decentralized exchange in the future in our milestone. Right now there's a few drawbacks of decentralized exchanges that we think is not exactly practical for the real world. You get to keep your own private key, of course, whereas for a central exchange, you have to let the central exchange control that. But aside from that, the decentralized exchange, as we understand, is actually slow. You actually do not have a centralized liquidity. So you would find on, for example, Ether Delta is one of the decentralized ones where you see patchy volumes and the charting is not very up to date. You cannot have the real-time one because everything has to be confirmed on the blockchain. The transactions will be done before you can actually plot that on the chart. So there's quite a few drawbacks. And I would say maybe if we were traveling back in time before the Chinese ban, many of the exchanges would say, yes, decentralized exchange makes sense because then you cannot shut it down. Other than that, right now in terms of the liquidity for trading, ease of use, in terms of a management team, actually dedicated team who actually can make a wonderful team of customer service you can call up to find somebody to help you out, to actually suggest features they can build because there's commercial incentive, actually collective effort to make things happen, and the simple speed at which it can operate trumps the concept of decentralized exchange at least in the near future. But as decentralized exchange rhymes and echoes with blockchain in general in the decentralized theme, I believe there will definitely be a fundamental pillar, no matter if it's the bigger one or not.
Yeah, I would agree with Ted on this point. And we work in the blockchain industry. I think people talk about decentralization. Even though I work for and I represent decentralized exchange, given there are some obvious advantages at this moment of the centralized exchange over the decentralized one. But I think in the future, the decentralized exchange and protocol that will be the pillar of the industry. And for the fact that if you look back in our token listing process, the first 3 tokens that we listed on our exchange, Huobi.pro, there are actually 3 decentralized exchange protocol. That's very interesting because we've been following this trend, following the decentralized exchange protocol for a long time. That's why we are very confident to list them at the first batch. Yeah.
Yeah, from my point of view, I think that decentralized exchanges can be part of the exchanges as well. But there are some issues to be resolved. First of all, from technical perspective, you have to solve the you must have a high efficiency server and you have a efficiency data storm, like something like that. I mean, if you want, you can get both because if you want to control your private key instead of store the key from the the server exchange, then you have to tolerance the slow speed of trading, and of course you can just if you want to a future margin sell or buy, this can now, as I can see, must be done as a centralized exchange. There are some technical issues to be resolved so far.
Okay. Maybe if someone has a question in the audience, I would be happy to give you the mic. Otherwise, I have more questions. There is one.
Can you guys speak to the process for getting listed on your exchanges and how you will make that more efficient so that new projects can be listed more easily, and what the current requirements are, and any plans you have with that respect?
Yeah, so sure. To answer the questions, it's transparent, it is public. You can find all the information on our website. You go to Huobi.pro, at the bottom of it, there's a link for you to you'll see it's for the application process. There are a couple of steps, I would say in short. I mentioned a little bit about the smart chain model. We have a team dedicated to analyze, to accept the applications from the project team. We'll process it as soon as possible. We're going to publish the results of our analysis too once we launch the product. We launch the token. Yeah, so I would say in short that the first step is you submit the applications with the information about your project, including the crowd sale structure, including technology, and and basically it's the fact sheet of your project. And second is we're going to get back to you as soon as possible, and then we can start the process. And obviously we accept the applications by emails. You can also tweet us on the on the social medias. We will get back to you as soon as possible.
All right, for Binance, we actually have a very low pass rate. Out of all the applications, we actually only pass about 3% or less. We do have a standard form where you can supply all the information we need, but what we're looking for is the top of the bunch. So the review team actually, they have the job of saying yes to the top points. They don't actually say no to anybody, they just kind of keep in the pile because the projects do evolve and they do have the next milestone they reach. And you're welcome to supply more information to us, keep us updated. But we receive a lot of applications. As you can understand, Binance is the most wanted to be exchange, the destination to be for all new projects. We do have dedicated review team that crunches through things, and they do have strict disciplines about what to look out for. There are some particular parts we really look for, like the team, the integrity of the team, obviously, actual working product, approval from the user base if the product's being used by the users. These are the regular good old fundamentals we look for in equity. There are also some proprietary evaluation criteria we don't really publicize because we don't want it to be engineered. We don't think it should be a standardized test. And every project can try to win a chance to list on Binance. It should be in a way that we look out for the investors and the users of Binance and we think what would be a real longevity play? What would most likely to be a good investment in the long run? We look at it in that respect. So when you actually come to Binance to trade, even though 70% of our trading volume comes from those token pairs, you can rest assured that we picked carefully, curated the list for you.
No? Okay, there's another one. Do we have enough time to take another one? All right, let's do it.
Hi, this is a question for actually exchanges. I represent a investor group. We are primarily a financial empowerment research organization, and we've gotten a foray into crypto. So we've grown our group to about 30,000 people in the last month. We've been in this for about a month. Our constituents are having problems with exchanges, specifically actually you guys at Binance, because of we have to like submit IDs and all these sorts of things, and our constituency, probably isn't too thrilled about sending a passport to some unknown person in China or something on that front, because we're primarily U.S. based. So I guess my question is, how can you help people who want to trade, get on these exchanges or sync up banks into them and everything like that? And in particular with our constituency, we probably have a very high rate of being underbanked also. So, like given all these sorts of things and general distrust of like government and things like that, when you have to go to an exchange and then like give your passport, give your mom's maiden name, give your social security, the list goes on, it seems somewhat counterintuitive, and I wonder if you could maybe talk about that.
Sure. Since you mentioned Binance, I will be addressing this question specifically. When you register on Binance, by default, you just need your email. And you can apply for an account. And you can start trading. What you would need the KYC for is if you want to go to level 2 and up. By level 2 means you want to increase the withdrawal limit, the daily withdrawal limit. Okay, if you want to do that, you got to apply using KYC. So it's a give or take. If you don't want to increase the withdrawal limit, the daily withdrawal limit, it's okay. You don't have to supply your smile with your passport or ID, and we really look at the picture to make sure it's the same guy or the same gal. Now, it's not a Chinese thing or not. It's not, there are Chinese people helping. It's not, because call centers around the world have been outsourced to different parts of the world. I don't think you mean that the constituents in your community is not trusting people who do the KYC. Because either algorithms or it's humans, and the algorithms are written by humans. So for us, if the investor is not feeling comfortable disclosing who they are, you can still register and trade without the KYC part. Did that answer your question? Sure, please come to me, we can talk.
All right, I think we gotta close the discussion, but these people will be around if you have more questions. So thank you so much for coming and answering your questions.